Hello and welcome to episode 271 of Sutton Impact Family Style. I'm Jason.
I'm Bill, and this was. I think we teased you off last week. We said it was going to be a slow week. There wasn't a lot going on, and there was a lot going on.
Yeah.
So let's start with the Celtics and the Warriors.
Tied 2-2.
And tied 2-2. And I still believe the Warriors are going to win in 6.
Oh, you think they're going to? Oh.
But I got to admit, it could be over if the Celtics, ever played like they do in every other game when they play so outstanding.
Yeah.
They're either really good or really bad. And it was just like I said in the Heat series and in the Bucks series, that they come to a point in a game where they're dominating a game, and then all of a sudden their shot selection becomes the most bizarre shot selection I've ever seen. And it hurts more against the Warriors because it's everybody shooting threes, nobody rebounding, and so that every missed three almost always starts a fast break or a 4-on-3 or an advantage for the other team.
It's true.
I still don't understand it. I mean, if it's apparent to me, it should be apparent to everybody.
It's true. We did see in Game 4 just an epic superstar Steph Curry performance.
That was no question. That was one person taking everything on his back, and the stuff he was putting up was ridiculous.
Because and that's the other thing. He put on that performance, 43 points, 7 or 8 threes, 10 assists, whatever he ended up having, but none of those were wide open shots. The Celtics were playing good defense.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to.
I think tonight I might watch the game with a stopwatch, and I want to see how long the ball's actually in his hand before it's a shot. I don't think it's 2 seconds.
It's fast. It's ridiculously fast.
Unbelievably fast, and I think he probably really practices off-balance shooting because he can shoot from any angle I've ever seen.
And
He would be the greatest horse player of all time.
And infinite range.
Infinite range, quickness. I don't know. I mean, he comes down the lane sometimes, and I expect him to pass, and it looks like a pass, and all of a sudden, instead of shooting it, he throws it and it goes in.
Yeah,
I don't know what to think, but I'm looking forward to the game. Whoever wins tonight wins.
I think that's pretty clear. But
I think that's pretty clear.
You just look at that game, obviously without Steph Curry, that's kind of a silly thing to say because they wouldn't be there without Steph Curry, period. But can he have that kind of game again 2 more times? Because he's not getting help,
That was an unbelievable game. But he's averaging almost 35 a game anyhow.
It's true.
And so the debate on the Talking Heads this morning was, does he need to score 40? And the consensus was he could score between 35 and 40 and they'd still win. But yeah, I would say that too. If he's going to get 35 to 40 points, you're going to win. But as good as that story is, how about the Draymond Green story?
I was about to say, it was like Draymond Green being awful.
Yeah, and getting benched in the fourth quarter.
Well, they've been better with Looney on the floor. They just look better.
Yeah, they did look better. But I don't understand. He's been such an integral part of the team and such a prime, impact. I just don't understand what happened. If his mental game's caught up to him or what. I just don't understand it.
Well, I just think you have a guy that hasn't had to have a good game technically in the playoffs for 3 seasons now, right? With all, the Steph, the year they've kind of were out of it. And Draymond's getting up there in age, and he's a guy that, like Russ, they need their athleticism because Draymond's undersized for what he does. And you take away a little bit of that athleticism, it's a few less rebounds, a little less lift on his jump, on his shots. It's just, I don't know. It's sad to see.
Yeah.
And then Tatum, it looks like something's wrong with Tatum, right?
Yeah.
He shakes his arm a lot.
Somebody asked me today who the better player was, Jason. If it was Tatum.
Or Jaylen Brown.
Yeah. And I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's one of those situations, on a good night, it's Tatum. When they're at their best, I should say. When they're both playing their best, it's clearly Tatum. But, I do think though, like you watch him, like when you've got like a stinger and you sort of like shake your arm.
Yeah.
He does that a lot during the game, and obviously you can't have a 3-week stinger. That's not what a stinger is. So I'm wondering if when this series is over, we're going to find out he has some kind of shoulder, elbow, something happening. Because that arm shake seems like it's got to be something, right?
Something, I don't know. I can't figure it out.
No, I can't either. But something is there, clearly.
And then 15 plus turnovers they lose, and that seems to be pretty consistent. They're going to have right around. If they don't get the 15, they usually get the 14.
Yeah,
and they definitely keep other teams in the game with the amount of turnovers they have.
And like you said, the problem is they've been winning every other game, so they desperately need to win Game 5.
Yeah, I mean,
because then they can play terrible in Game 6 and then play good again in Game 7.
That's what it looks like, which means they'd win three of the 4 games they won. They would have won on the road if that's how it plays out.
Which is pretty crazy in and of itself.
Very crazy. Very crazy. So, I don't know. It's been really, really interesting. So, I'm excited to watch tonight.
Yeah.
I watched the Lightning all week. Vasilevsky probably is the best goaltender I've ever seen.
Ever?
Ever, yeah. I just don't see. I mean, as big as he is, and as flexible. I mean, he covers the whole net.
Yeah.
He's a huge guy, and he's so flexible. And now he's allowing like less than a goal a game. If you allow less than a goal a game, you're going to win.
Yeah, they always say the hot goalie wins, and he's not just the hot goalie; he's the best goalie. So.
Yeah, and I mean, in the first couple games, he didn't look himself, but the last 4 he sure did. And and the other guy played really, really well, considering he got benched against the Penguins in the first round.
I know.
But Stamkos scored 2 goals last time, and they still don't have Braden Point back. And if they get him back, and he's anything like he usually is, they can win. But I think this is going to be an amazing series.
I'm hoping.
I think these are the 2 best teams in hockey. And, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. But I'm excited. Whoever thought I'd say I'm excited to watch hockey. I'm excited to watch the Lightning hockey because now I've watched enough of the Lightning that I really know all the players. I know what they do, and I've got some familiarity. And so it's okay. I mean, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But if it was the Avalanche and the Rangers, I wouldn't watch because I don't have a horse in the race, but I also don't have enough knowledge of the 2 teams to really, really care.
Yeah.
And then I want to talk about LIV versus the PGA Tour.
I'll have to let you handle this one on your own.
And so let's talk about it. All right. If you go to the LIV Tour, you're obviously going for money. But it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And, Phil Mickelson got $200. Phil Mickelson is not worth $200 million.
Not for a long time now.
And if you thought, if you need him to do it, that to me, that's a flaw in your logic. Dustin Johnson is somebody that's going to be very, very good, continue to be very, very good, and maybe he's your guy. And you gave him $125 million. There's 2 guys you give $325 million guaranteed.
Well,
now you have this team thing as well as the individual thing, and the names did you see the names they came up with for these teams?
Yeah.
I mean, really? If you gave me 10 grad students and a keg of beer, I would come up with 20 better names than those. I mean, I couldn't even believe those things. So I don't understand it. But, I wrote my column this week for SBJ on could and should. And so you could ban these guys from playing on the PGA Tour, right?
Right.
But should you? And if you do ban them, should you ban them for life? You could ban them for life. Or should you ban them for 2 years and they can reapply or whatever it is? I just don't know where the line should be. I understand that these guys they're all about themselves. There's no question about that. But if somebody offered you $200 million, you'd have to take a serious thought about it because it changes your life. Because you could win $200 million on the PGA Tour, but you will get $200 million on the LIV Tour because you're not getting paid to win; you're getting paid to be there.
Yeah.
So it's a different concept. It's like having a guaranteed contract, and we hope you perform, but you don't have to win to get your money.
No, and
on the PGA Tour, you got to win to get your money. So it's a different model.
And I think if you're a younger player going there, you assume if I'm good enough, eventually the PGA is going to open up for me no matter what. And then I've seen something interesting lately. I'll refer to professional sports entertainment as the other example. But there's been a bunch of people that have left WWE and they're now in AEW.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them have had. I know professional wrestling is not professional sports; it's professional sports entertainment. But I've listened to a lot of them, and they basically said, my whole life it's always been WWE WrestleMania. That's all I've ever thought about. That's been the goal. But then they realized that the goal is really, I want to make money doing what I love and have the right kind of schedule and support. And I get that in AEW. I didn't get that in WWE. Not that the prestige is ever going to go away, but, the opportunity to make a lot of money doing what you love in a better environment, I think eventually that,
Yeah, you got to think about it. So it's going to be interesting to see how this falls out.
I mean, you're still playing against world-class golfers. You're still competing,
Yeah. But, it's the sniping back and forth is interesting. Rory McIlroy did his interview, and he won this past week in Canada, and it was his 21st win. And they said, what was significant about that? And he goes, because now I have one more than the other guy, meaning Greg Norman.
Yeah.
And so, you got a lot of that going back and forth. So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out.
Yeah, very much so.
Then, if you've not seen any highlights of the New York Yankees in the last week or two, my God. I think they're 44-16 is the record. And they rescued Matt Carpenter, the old Cardinal, off the scrap heap, and he's already hit 6 home runs. He hit 2 home runs the other day and had 7 RBIs. That looks like the biggest baseball team I have ever seen. And they're just mashing home runs, and they got great pitching. They could run and hide by 4th of July.
Yeah.
They look pretty incredible. You could have a Subway Series between them and the Mets, or you could have a Yankees-Dodgers rivalry like you've always had. It looks like that could be the scenario that plays out. But it's frightening the way the Yankees are playing right now. And, Aaron Judge bet on himself, didn't sign an extension. He'll be a free agent at the end of the year. He could break all the home run records this year. So who knows where this goes?
Yeah.
And who knows if he'd even leave the Yankees or if he, where he would sign, what he would do.
Very true. Very, very true.
A wild week in sports. Really an enjoyable week.
And now we got NBA draft talk for next week. We got trade buzz. It's getting exciting.
Yeah, we had a trade today.
Yeah, JaMychal Green and a future first-round pick to Oklahoma City for the 30th overall pick.
Yeah. Oklahoma City has got so many first-round picks.
Well,
I don't understand what they're going to do with them all.
Well, this one made a ton of sense for them. They get rid of one of their 4 picks this year, and it's the 30th pick in the draft, which is almost you won the championship. They get JaMychal Green, who's at least an asset. He's going to opt into his $8 million deal, saves the Nuggets cap room. And then you traded basically the 30th overall pick for JaMychal Green, who you can probably trade or flip or do something with during the season. And you get the 2027 Nuggets first round. I know it's protected, but it's probably going to be better than 30. In a draft, you already have 4 picks in.
It'll be better than 30. It might be in the 20s.
Yeah.
Depends on, what's happening. And then also, while we're talking about the Nuggets, I'm wondering if somebody's going to hire Quinn Snyder.
Well, that's the Jazz. Yeah, I don't know.
Quinn Snyder has had the Jazz play at a good level, but I like what he said. He said, they need another voice. They need a different voice. And I think that's accurate.
I think it is.
And, the Jazz and the Nuggets go back and forth every year. There's the two teams that play really well, and they get the playoffs and they don't play well.
But the Nuggets has been, your other two best players can't stay healthy and they miss the playoffs every year. Whereas the Jazz, supposedly your best two players, one of them gets played off the court and the other one kind of disappears, and apparently they don't like each other. And that seems like that's a lot more smoke or a lot more fire than smoke. So I don't know what you do if you're the Jazz. The Nuggets, you can still say we've lost, MPJ every year for the last 3 years, which again isn't a good thing to say, but at least it's a nice excuse. And then Jamal Murray missed the last year and a half of the playoffs. So, we're a 40-win team and we're missing two of our highest paid players. Whereas if you're the Jazz, I don't know what are you? You're a regular season team that, your second best player can't play in a series because he's not a threat on offense, and he gets, as good as he is on defense, he doesn't get it done. And then Mitchell, I don't know what Donovan Mitchell is.
I was excited to see that the Grizzlies signed their coach to an extension.
Yeah.
I thought he did a fantastic job, and I'd like to see what that team looks like next year. If they show a little bit of growth, maybe pick up a piece.
That team is just keep moving in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. And in your town, looks like Zion wants to sign an extension and be a Pelican.
Well, he wants to sign the extension, yes. We'll see about the be a Pelican part. Although the Pelicans are a nice squad right now,
Yeah.
If you add Zion to that team that made the playoffs last year, that's a contender.
Yeah, it's a really nice team. So, if he can stay healthy and not eat himself out of the league and have a good attitude and adapt to the new players that came in that he didn't play with, yeah, it could be a really nice team.
I think he needs to have basically a food babysitter that keeps him out of the kitchen and out of restaurants.
That'd be good.
Like, he says, I'm hungry. The guy goes in and he brings him, a salad or a chicken breast. Like, it just doesn't, don't let him do any shopping. Don't let him,
Yeah.
Don't let him stop at the store to get gas. You go get gas for him. Like, don't give him any, keep him away from all the stuff. Because it's hard. Yeah, I wouldn't pretend like it's anything other than that,
Well, I also want to talk about, I went to the UMass 50th anniversary celebration of the sport management program. I got to see a lot of people who've gone to UMass over the years and everything, and it was a really, really nice event. Played the golf tournament, and one of the more well-known UMass alums is named Bill Hubbard, and he has a company called Sports Specialty Underwriters. They do all the insurance for all the sporting events. And they had a deal. They had they had 4 holes where it was closest to the pin and 2 long drives. So those 6 people got to go to the first hole at the end.
Yeah.
And they all had 1 shot each for a hole-in-one, and a hole-in-one would have been $1 million, $500,000 to the sport management program, and $500,000 to the person.
Ooh.
Kind of cool, though, right?
Yeah.
Not even close.
Oh.
Not even close.
Okay.
That's a lot of. I don't know where my shot would go if I had a chance to hit a hole-in-one for $1 million. I don't even know if I'd get it off the tee or if I'd hit it in the woods or whatever.
Yeah, it's not exactly a half-court shot, which I feel is a much easier accomplishment.
And so it was the first time I played 18 holes of golf in a while. And the sad part was I was probably the best guy in my threesome that was supposed to be a foursome, but only 3 people showed up. But we had a guy, Jason, that could really crush the ball, right?
Yeah.
One time we were on par 5. We were 250 yards out. He picked up his hybrid, and he crushed it more than 250 yards, dead into the woods.
Oh,
I mean, he could hit the ball harder. I mean, when he hit the ball, it sounded like a pro golfer hitting the ball.
oh,
But
nice.
it was never, ever in the fairway. I think out of 18 holes, I think he had one drive in the fairway.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah. And it was about a 310-yard drive.
Nice.
But it was fun. It was good to see people. Good to see people get honored, get their awards and everything. Nice to see some alums that I hadn't seen for a while. And always nice to be back in Amherst, and especially enjoying that no humidity, 72 to 75 degree Western Mass weather.
Yeah, that is nice.
It was really nice. So on that note, I've got some food notes.
Go right ahead.
So Friday night we had a mixer at the hangar, and you've heard us talk about the hangar before, and I hadn't been there probably in 3 years. And I went, had some boneless buffalo wings, and they were as good as they've ever been, and I was very pleased to hear that. So I would still tell you, if you're in Amherst, go to the hangar. Yesterday, I went somewhere I've never gone before. I went to the Hotel Northampton. They had a Sunday brunch at Wiggins Tavern, which is like probably 200 years old. And aesthetically, it was just gorgeous. But the food in the Sunday brunch buffet was awesome. Made to order omelets, made to order waffles, made a prime rib carvery station, chicken, fish, eggs Benedict, bakery items, fresh baked bakery items. It was awesome. So if you're ever in Western Mass on a Sunday, go to the Hotel Northampton Wiggins Tavern and go to the Sunday brunch. And then always one of my favorite things, because Western Mass is very agrarian, and there was a farm down the street from where we lived called Flavors. You remember that?
Oh, I think you're talking about Atkins. Okay.
No, Flavors. So I went to Atkins and bought some milk that came from Flavors, and there were yellow chunks in the milk. And so I had your mom look at it, and she goes, that's the cream, the butterfat.
Oh.
Because it comes straight from the dairy, and it goes 1.5 miles to Atkins Farms.
That's
So
pretty.
it was really good milk. And I had 2%. I didn't even have whole milk. And it was maybe the best milk I've ever had. But we went back there one day, and we had ice cream, which is, again, amazing, because you're looking at the cows that produced the cream that made the ice cream, and you're having your ice cream.
Yeah.
And their ice cream is outstanding. So I had a really, really nice weekend. I had some great things to eat, but it was nice to be back in that part of the world, especially at a time when it was, like today it was 94, feels like 103 in Tampa. So, and I know it's hot in New Orleans.
Of course.
So you enjoy getting those kind of places when you have a chance. So those are my food moments. The hangar, Flavors, Atkins Farms, and the Wiggins Tavern in the Hotel Northampton.
Okay. I sadly had no food, and then I think I already talked about the staircase, but they just had the finale of the 8-part, and it was outstanding. Everybody should watch it.
Okay. And last night on AMC, a series called Dark Wind started. Dark Wind, W-I-N-D. And it's based on a series of novels from Tony Hillerman, and it's set in the Navajo territory in New Mexico. And the lead actor plays the police chief. He was in this. Also played the police chief in Longmire, which is one of my favorite Netflix series. But it started last night. I didn't get to see it last night. I read the reviews. The reviews were outstanding. Like I said, the books are based on Tony Hillerman's characters, and I used to read those novels all the time. So I'm excited to start Dark Wind tonight, and it's a Sunday night series on AMC. I don't know if they post the episodes all at once or if it's just weekly on AMC and you got to wait till they come out, but I'm excited to watch it. I think it'll be really good.
Nice.
And then I read John Grisham has a new book which has 3 novellas in it, and the title of the book is called Sparring Partners. And Sparring Partners is the name of the 3rd novella. And I would tell you that particular novella is outstanding. The other 2 are good, but this one is outstanding. it was reminiscent to me of the twists and turns in the firm. And I thought it was really, really well done. I really enjoyed it. So I would recommend John Grisham's Sparring Partners if anybody's looking for something to read.
Okay. Well, we ended up with a much longer, bigger show than I thought we were going to have this week based on our sports.
Yeah. I guess the last thing I want to talk about is, everybody is trying to make a name for themselves, get some media coverage. And so Tyreek Hill was talking today, this week, about he was comparing Tua and Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
And I guess he comes out and says that Tua is more accurate than Patrick Mahomes.
He did say that.
And then the other thing I thought that was even more ridiculous than that was the fact that he said that he needs to be more involved, a bigger part of the offense. And I think he had over 110 receptions last year.
He did.
So I don't know how you become more involved than 110 receptions.
I don't either. But also, a negative shout out.
Go ahead.
A negative shout out to the Dolphin social media team that doesn't know what a video is supposed to look like. They were like, look at this connection for years to come, and they showed Tyreek Hill having to stop and run back and almost scoop it off the ground to a pass.
After they're talking about how accurate he is.
Yeah.
And so I got to give a shout out to the big sweat go, because he said, well, everybody's accurate in the OTAs.
It's
because
true.
Nobody's chasing you and you're standing back there and nobody's pressuring you and you can be as accurate as you want. He goes, you tell me that Tua is more accurate in November after he's been chased around for a while and running for his life, and then you tell me that he's more accurate than Patrick Mahomes. In the meantime, I'm going to take Patrick Mahomes. And so I like the Swaggo. He just lays it out there.
Yeah.
He's one of the, and as is Kendrick Perkins. I mean, they both, no apologies. They just lay out what they're going to lay out.
And again, I have no idea if it's a failure of our education system or parenting or just the human behavior, but we have to learn how to compliment one person without putting down the other person in the process.
Yes.
You should be able to talk about how great Tua's accuracy without even mentioning Patrick Mahomes. That's not even a very difficult skill to have. But it's not. I'm not even calling out Tyreek Hill. A lot of people do that. I mean, it's, there has to be a way to compliment somebody without destroying somebody else in the process.
You would think.
You would think. All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Anything else we got?
I think that's it.
All right, everybody will enjoy the opening of the NHL playoffs. Enjoy the closing of the NBA playoffs. I'm assuming that the NBA playoffs will be over by the time we do our next show.
I think so.
I'm assuming that, but I don't know that for sure. But I'm assuming that. But enjoy those. Catch the Yankees. They're amazing to watch. And if you like home runs, if you are like chicks dig the long ball, you'll like the Yankees. Check out Dark Wind. I think it's definitely going to be worth a watch. I'm really excited about it. And have a good week.